What if you could command respect effortlessly, just by being you? Not louder, not softer, just real. There's this kind of woman who doesn't play by the rulebook, not trying to fit in, not trying to stand out, just moving, quietly, confidently, doing her thing. That's a Sigma female. Sigma females aren't feared because they're loud. They're respected because they're solid. So what is it about Sigma females that makes men stop and pay attention? Let's talk about it. Here's the thing. Society still tells women, don't be too bold. Don't be too quiet. Smile more. Don't be intimidating. It's a tightrope. Be confident, but not too confident. Be kind, but don't be too nice, or they'll walk all over you. It's exhausting, right? But Sigma females don't play that game. They've figured out something most people haven't. They don't chase respect. They earn it just by being true to themselves. Now it's time for the main part of today's video, 8 things that make men respect Sigma females. 1. Sigma females don't beg for attention. They don't need to. They don't walk into a room with loud energy, flashy clothes, or exaggerated gestures just to be noticed. That's not their vibe. They walk in with presence, quiet, calm, self-assured. There's something about how they carry themselves that turns heads without trying. You don't hear them before you see them. You feel them. It's subtle, but it's powerful. They're not looking around to see who's watching. They're not adjusting their voice to match the energy of the room. They're just there, and that's more than enough. Sigma females aren't afraid of being overlooked because they know their value isn't tied to how many eyes are on them. They don't need validation. They don't perform. And because of that, people notice. They speak when they have something to say, not because they're trying to prove something. That silence, that pause before they speak, it's not awkward. It's intentional. It's strong. They don't need to be the center of the group to feel like they belong. They're completely at ease standing alone. That's the kind of presence people remember. Sigma females don't chase approval. They don't feel the need to outshine others to feel worthy. They glow differently. That glow isn't loud, it's grounded. It's a glow that says, I know who I am, and I'm good with that. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. And people respect that back. They know when to step in and when to step out. They're not there to compete. They're not trying to dominate the room or change the vibe. They're just in control of their own. That's what makes them magnetic. It's not about having all eyes on them. It's about the right people paying attention. And trust me, the right people always do. Sigma females can walk past 100 people without saying a word and still leave an impression. It's not about what they wear, how they talk, or who they're with. It's energy. It's the confidence that doesn't shout. It speaks softly but clearly. You can't fake that. They don't need to post every win, flaunt every move, or explain their choices. They know that real power doesn't always need an audience. That's what separates them. Sigma females have this way of making silence look strong. They don't fill every space with noise. They're not loud leaders, but they are leaders. People just naturally look to them. And it's not because they tried, it's because they didn't. That quiet confidence. It speaks louder than anything else in the room. You see it in their eyes, in their posture, in the way they don't rush to fill silence. That stillness, that clarity, that's what makes them unforgettable. Sigma females aren't trying to impress. They're not chasing attention. They simply move with intention, with purpose, and with grace. That's what people respect. Not the noise, not the flash. Just the quiet strength of someone who knows who they are and doesn't need to prove it. If you've ever had to walk away just to protect your peace, drop a 100 in the comments. All right, let's keep going. 2. Sigma females set boundaries. They don't ask for permission to protect their peace. They don't second-guess themselves when they say no, and they don't feel guilty for walking away from what doesn't serve them. That's the thing. Sigma females know where their line is. And once something crosses it, they don't hesitate. There's no drama, no yelling, no drawn-out confrontation, no long emotional breakdown, just clarity, just action. They don't explain themselves 20 times. They don't try to make others understand their reasons. If someone doesn't get it, that's on them. Sigma females are not in the business of over-explaining. They say what needs to be said once, clearly, and that's it. They're not afraid of being misunderstood because they know their worth doesn't depend on being liked. They value their time, their energy, their space, and they protect it with quiet, calm confidence. When someone disrespects their limits, they don't try to fix it. They don't stay and hope things change. They simply move on. It's not about punishment. It's not about teaching lessons. It's just about staying true to their own standards. Boundaries, to Sigma females, are not walls. They're filters. They keep the right energy in and the wrong energy out. It's not about being cold. It's about being clear. And people feel that. People may not always like it, but they respect it. Because deep down, everyone knows that someone who stands firm in their boundaries is someone who values themselves. And that kind of self-respect, it's rare. Sigma females don't do guilt trips. They don't play mind games. If something feels off, they don't ignore it. They trust their gut. They trust their silence. And they honor their limits. If a relationship, a job, a friendship, or even a vibe starts to drain them, they distance themselves. Quietly, quickly, cleanly. No need for a big announcement. No need for revenge or shade. Just gone. That level of discipline doesn't come from ego. It comes from experience. Sigma females have seen what happens when you let people cross lines. They've learned what it costs. So now they don't let it happen. They draw that line early, and they stick to it, not just with others, but with themselves too. That's the part most people miss. Sigma females hold themselves accountable. They don't preach self-respect and then ignore their own needs. They don't stay in situations that drain them just to avoid looking rude. They don't make excuses for toxic patterns. They stop them, they fix them, they grow through them, and they don't lower their standards just to keep someone around. Because they know what you allow is what will continue, so they allow peace, they allow respect, they allow honesty. And if that's too much for someone, then that someone simply isn't meant to stay. Simple. Sigma females don't do chaos, they do clarity. And that's what makes their boundaries feel so powerful. Not loud, not cruel, just firm, real, non-negotiable. That's what earns respect, every single time. 4. Sigma females are self-made. They don't wait around for opportunities to be handed to them. They don't sit back hoping someone will recognize their worth. They already know it, and they act on it. Whether they're building a career, building peace, or chasing personal goals, they're doing it on their terms. They don't wait for approval. They don't ask for permission. If something needs to be done, they figure out how to do it. If there's a door closed in front of them, they build another one. If no one's offering a seat at the table, they create their own table, and it's better anyway. Sigma females don't look for shortcuts. They put in the work, day in, day out. They hustle in silence. They grow in private. They let their results speak for them. There's no need to post every win. No need to show every step. Because Sigma females don't do it for applause. They do it for freedom. That's what they're after. Freedom to live life on their own terms. Freedom from relying on others. Freedom from being controlled or boxed in. That's what fuels them. They want a life that feels good on the inside, not one that just looks good on the outside. So they build it, bit by bit, quietly, with intention. They learn what they don't know. They invest in themselves. They grow through pain. They learn through loss. And they never stop. Sigma females don't look for someone to complete them. They're already whole. If someone shows up to walk with them, cool. But they're not standing still waiting for that. They've got things to do, dreams to chase, peace to protect. That self-made mindset shows up in everything, in the way they carry themselves, in the way they make decisions, in the way they don't fold under pressure, because they've already been through enough to know they can handle themselves. They've had to, and that's what shaped them. Sigma females don't complain about what they didn't get. They use it as fuel. They don't stay stuck in victim mode. They rise. They rebuild. Every time. And that kind of resilience, it can't be taught. It's earned through experience, through setbacks, Through showing up when no one else believed in them, they've learned to rely on their own vision, their own voice, their own drive, and that's why they don't follow trends. They follow purpose. Their purpose, not what's popular, not what's expected, just what feels true. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're just building a life that feels aligned, a life that's solid, one that's theirs. That's why Sigma females don't compete with others. They're too busy mastering their own lane. And that lane? It's not always easy, but it's real. It's earned. It's theirs. They didn't wait for someone to pick them. They picked themselves. And that's what makes them unstoppable. Quietly, completely, unapologetically self-made. If you're still here, you're clearly a real one. Let me know in the comments which of these traits feels most like you. 5. Sigma females stay calm under pressure. When everything around them is shaking, they're still. When the room gets tense, they don't lose their cool. They don't let stress make them act out of character. They breathe, they pause, they assess. You can throw them into chaos, but they don't crack. They don't panic. They don't break down just because things didn't go as planned. They've trained themselves to stay grounded. They've learned that emotions are powerful, but they don't let emotions control them. Sigma females respond. They don't react. And that difference is everything. They understand that storms will come. Life will hit hard. People will disappoint. Plans will fall apart. But panic won't solve any of it. So they focus on what they can control. Their mind, their mood, their energy. That's their strength. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about staying centered when it's not. Sigma females have this deep inner stillness that people notice. It's not forced. It's not fake. It's the result of experience. They've been through things that taught them how to handle pressure, not by ignoring it, but by facing it head-on. They've had moments of doubt, fear, and pain, but they never let it define them. They sit with it, they process it, and then they move forward, quietly, steadily. While others are losing their heads, Sigma females are observing. While others rush to speak, Sigma females are listening. While others crumble, Sigma females are steadying the ground beneath them. That calm energy? It's magnetic. People feel safer around them. People trust them. Because when things fall apart, Sigma females don't add to the chaos. They anchor it. They hold space. For others, for solutions, for clarity. They don't explode. They don't spiral. They stay solid. And that makes people respect them, even if they don't understand them. That level of calm doesn't come from luck. It comes from discipline, from learning to regulate emotions, from refusing to be shaken by every opinion, every drama, every unexpected twist. Sigma females choose peace over panic, focus over fear, strength over noise. Even when they're hurting, they don't let the world see them fall apart. Not because they're hiding, but because they've built strength from within. That calmness doesn't mean they don't care. It means they're in control. It means they trust themselves to handle whatever comes. That's what makes them so powerful in tough situations. They're not just calm for themselves. They're calm for everyone around them. Their energy sets the tone. In meetings, in conflicts, in crisis, they're the ones people look to. Because when the pressure rises, Sigma females don't flinch. They focus. They think clearly. They make moves without rushing. That's why they lead, even in silence. That calm under pressure. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being intentional. It's about protecting their energy when it matters most. It's what makes them different, what makes them trusted, what makes them strong. In the storm, Sigma females don't disappear. They rise. 6 Sigma females don't follow trends. They follow purpose. They're not interested in doing something just because it's popular. They're not chasing what's hot this month, what everyone's talking about, or what looks good online. They think deeper than that. They want something that lasts, something that means something. They don't care what everyone else is doing. They don't base their decisions on likes, comments, or temporary validation. If something doesn't align with who they are, they won't force it. If it doesn't feel right, they don't touch it. Sigma females don't let society, friends, or influencers decide what their life should look like. They've got their own standards, their own timeline, their own vision. That's what makes them so rare. While the world is running in circles chasing the next big thing, Sigma females are walking straight toward their own goals, at their own pace, in their own lane. They live in their own rhythm, building a life that feels right, not just looks right. It doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. That's their standard. They care more about peace than performance, more about meaning than attention, more about inner fulfillment than outer approval. And people don't always get it, because most are so used to performing, pretending, comparing. But Sigma females, they don't play that game. They don't need to. They've got direction. They've got clarity. They've got purpose. That's what guides them. Not pressure, not trends, not noise. They're not afraid to be different. They're not scared to be misunderstood. In fact, they expect it. Because when you follow purpose, not everyone's going to clap for you. Not everyone's going to relate. And that's fine. Sigma females aren't here to fit in. They're here to build something that lasts. Their choices come from alignment, not influence. They think long-term. They act with intention. They move with meaning. They're not trying to impress strangers. They're trying to stay true to themselves. And that takes strength. Because it's easy to follow the crowd, easy to copy what's already been done. But Sigma females take the harder road, the honest one, the one that leads to something real. They're not afraid to pause, reflect, and ask, does this really matter to me? And if the answer is no, they walk away. No guilt, no hesitation, just clarity. That's why their lives feel so grounded, so aligned, so powerful, because everything they build comes from the inside out, not the outside in. It's not about what's trending, it's about what's true. That's the difference, that's the freedom, that's the magic. Sigma females don't follow hype, they follow heart, and that's what keeps them rooted, focused, real. While everyone else is chasing what's next, they're building what's theirs, quietly, consistently, on purpose, always. 7 Sigma females are kind, but not naive. They treat people with respect, not because they expect something back, but because it's just who they are. They know how to be polite, patient, and understanding, but don't let that fool you. That kindness isn't weakness, it's strength under control, it's power with grace. Sigma females don't walk around with a chip on their shoulder. They don't need to act tough to prove they're strong. They know that softness and strength can live in the same body. They know that being kind doesn't mean being blind. They give respect, but don't mistake it for weakness. That's a mistake people often make. They think the quiet ones are easy to push. They think kindness means submission. But Sigma females are quick to correct that. They may let things slide once or twice, but they're always watching. They're not ignoring it. They're just giving people a chance to show who they really are. And once they see it clearly, that's it. They don't need to argue. They don't need to fight. They just cut the cord and walk away. No warning, no scene, just done. Because Sigma females don't waste time on fake energy. They see through it like glass. You can't manipulate them with charm. You can't confuse them with flattery. They've seen too much. They've felt too much. They know what real connection feels like, and they know when something's off. It doesn't matter how good someone looks, talks, or acts. If the energy feels fake, they're out. Instantly. They trust their intuition more than someone's words. And that instinct is sharp, because they've learned. Maybe the hard way, maybe through betrayal, maybe through years of pretending to be nice just to keep the peace. But not anymore. Now they protect their space. Now they hold their boundaries. They can be warm, generous, giving, but only to those who respect it. The moment someone crosses a line, that kindness fades into distance. Not bitterness, just silence, detachment, exit. Sigma. Females don't do second chances for bad energy. They're not bitter, they're just done. There's a difference. They don't need closure. They don't need apologies. Once the respect is gone, so are they. That's why people learn quickly not to mistake their kindness for softness. Sigma females don't go around exposing people. They just leave people to their own behavior, and that's more powerful than any confrontation, because while others get loud, defensive, dramatic, Sigma females remain calm, observant, unmoved. That's what makes people feel exposed, because fake can't survive in the presence of real. And Sigma females, they're as real as it gets. Their kindness is pure, but it's also protected. Their hearts are open, but not unguarded. They love deeply, but not foolishly. That balance, that mix of warmth and wisdom, it's rare and it's powerful. It's what makes Sigma females unforgettable. They give what's deserved, nothing more, nothing less. And they never confuse being kind with being naive, ever. 8. Sigma females respect themselves. And that's the biggest one. It's the foundation of everything they do, everything they are, and everything they allow. Self-respect isn't a performance for them. It's a lifestyle. It shows up in how they walk, how they talk, how they treat themselves when no one's watching. It's in their choices. It's in their boundaries. It's in the way they speak up for themselves without fear or apology. They know their value, and they refuse to shrink to make others comfortable. They're not looking for someone to validate their worth. They've already done the work to find it within. Because when you carry yourself like someone who deserves respect, people have no choice but to give it. That's the truth. Sigma females don't wait to be chosen. They choose themselves first. They don't wait for someone to tell them they're enough. They already know. That knowing, that unshakable self-awareness, sets the tone for everything. You can feel it when they walk into a room. It's not arrogance. It's not attitude. It's just a solid, grounded sense of self. They don't have to announce it. They live it. Every day. That self-respect shapes how they deal with others. They don't chase anyone. They don't beg for time, love, or attention. They give what's real and expect the same. If they don't get it, they step back. Not out of pride, out of principle. Because they respect their own time, their own peace, their own energy too much to waste it on anything less than what's genuine. And people feel that. People may not always understand it, but they respect it. Because deep down, everyone admires someone who knows who they are and isn't afraid to own it. Sigma females don't settle for less than they deserve. Not in relationships, not in work, not in life. They'd rather be alone than in fake company. They'd rather start from scratch than stay stuck somewhere that disrespects their worth. That's how deep their self-respect goes. They protect their space. They honor their growth. They invest in their healing. They don't talk badly about themselves, even in their head. They uplift themselves, encourage themselves, remind themselves who they are, especially when the world tries to make them forget. And that kind of inner loyalty, it's rare, it's powerful, it's magnetic. Because when someone respects themselves, they teach the world how to treat them. That's what Sigma females do. They set the standard. Not with demands, not with noise, just with presence, just with self-awareness, just by walking through life with clarity and purpose. That energy doesn't beg for respect. It commands it, without trying, without asking, without forcing. And that's why people don't play with them. That's why their no means no. That's why their silence speaks louder than anyone's shouting. Because when you respect yourself, truly, fully, others follow your lead. Sigma females lead by example. They lead with energy. And the respect they get? It starts with the respect they give themselves. Look, I once knew a Sigma female like this. She worked in a male-dominated office, the kind of place where voices are loud, egos are bigger, and everyone's always trying to prove something. But not her. She stayed quiet, focused, consistent. She didn't raise her voice just to be heard. She didn't jump in to prove she belonged. She didn't play politics or try to be part of the crowd. She just did her work, calmly, brilliantly, better than everyone else. She didn't try to outshine anyone. She just showed up and delivered, every single time. No need for attention, no need for praise, just solid, reliable performance. The kind people underestimate until they can't anymore. One day, during a high-stakes meeting, the boss turned to her and asked her opinion on a major decision. The room went silent. It wasn't because they didn't expect her to have thoughts. It was because when she spoke, people knew it mattered. She responded, clear, thoughtful, sharp. Every word carried weight, no fluff, no ego, just straight value. And in that moment, everything shifted. The people in that room didn't just hear her. They saw her, really saw her, for the first time. After that day, they didn't just respect her. They started looking up to her. Not because she changed who she was, not because she started speaking louder or dressing differently or acting like anyone else, but because she never did. She stayed exactly who she was, and eventually that's what earned their respect. That's the power of a Sigma female. So yeah, what makes men respect Sigma females isn't their attitude, it's their energy. It's the way they carry themselves without needing to prove anything. They're steady, not scared, grounded, not reactive, focused, not loud, present, not desperate. They don't waste time chasing respect. They just live in a way that commands it. And the truth is, they don't even care about being admired. That's what makes them so magnetic. Sigma females don't demand attention. They command it, without even trying. It's in how they walk, how they speak, how they exist. And the best part, this kind of respect doesn't come from trying to be perfect. It comes from being real. It comes from staying aligned with who you are, even when the world pushes you to be something else. So, if you're a Sigma female, own it. Every quiet strength, every strong boundary, every clear word. And if you're becoming one, keep going. It's not about changing who you are, it's about becoming more of what you already are. Drop a comment and tell me what being a Sigma female means to you. I want to hear it, your story, your growth, your presence. And while you're here, check out the next video. We're breaking down the quiet power of saying no. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is not react, not explain, not bend, just say no. Respect isn't about fear, it's about presence. And Sigma females? They are the presence. Keep showing up,